Reservoir raid tips.
Gameplay: troops will not die during the reservoir raid. Any troops wounded during the raid recover automatically when the raid ends. The two matched alliances will enter the canyon for the reservoir.
Process.
Registration: leaders and URFR members from a top 20 ranked alliance can register. Members who join an alliance after the registration will not be able to participate in the raid, nor receive any reward. Participants: the alliance leader and URFRs can select up to 30 participants for the raid, plus 10 reservists. Entry: once the battle begins, chiefs will be able to enter the canyon where the raid takes. Participants must ensure they have no recon or marching troops, no wounded in the hospital, no troops hidden in the blast shelter, and no reinforcements in the settlement.
Battle stages.
Stage 1. Water treatment centers, water processing plants, solar power stations, and abandoned helipads.
Stage 2. Central reservoir, munitions factories and div compounds.
Stage 3. Water tanks will be randomly refreshed.
Battle.
Occupying and controlling buildings during the reservoir raid will increase alliance and solo purified water totals. Some buildings also offer powerful benefits.
Every 10,000 power of enemy troops killed while defending a building will earn 40 solo purified water.
Every 10,000 power of enemy troops killed while attacking a building will earn 80 solo purified water. Raid participants have one free advanced relocator that will enter a cooldown period after use. When the cooldown finish, it AC be used again. You can also use advanced relocator items to relocate.
I'm the nice guy, got the right body and the right mind, rolling up the party, got the right vibes, move like haters. Fresh boy, pull up and we lay low. All the players get moving with the bass low. Got the army right behind us when we say so. Let's go. Step right left to my beat. I like the moon rocking me, baby. Know that I got the heat. Let me show you 'cause talk is cheap. Step right left to my beat. Get it, let it roll. Cool light, cool shade, and you know we don't stop. How like, ain't no, you been like, oh my god. We gon' make it rock in his head. We gon' make it bounce in his head. Hotter, sweeter, cooler, butter. Get it, let it roll.
这一次，我真的睡着了。
The Central Reservoir is located in the center of the canyon. It is the largest source of purified water in the state.
Occupying and controlling the Central Reservoir will provide your alliance with a large supply of purified water. The amount of purified water will be the key to win.
这一次我真的睡着了。
Not far from the Central Reservoir are two large water treatment centers. They are key locations for gathering purified water and hold strategically important positions in the canyon.
The canyon contains a number of other buildings. Gather purified water from a water tank. Activate combat benefits via a munitions factory.
Reduce building control time via a solar power station. Reduce relocator cooldown time via Olipad. And release targeted waves of bloodthirsty infected from a dev compound. Water tanks will appear randomly throughout the canyon. Send troops to gather the purified water. The water tanks will be refreshed 3 times and are an important source of purified water.
Tip 1 Plan.
Doing well in Reservoir Raid requires planning well before the event is even announced. Less experienced alliances often go straight into the event without enough planning. It's important to plan in the long, medium, and short term leading up to the Reservoir Raid.
Long term. Save healing speed-ups. This should be the only event where you use healing speed-ups. Some players also use healing speed-ups during Capital Clash.
But you can avoid using them then by taking advantage of the batch healing trick. But in Reservoir Raid, you won't be able to request timer help from your alliance for wounded troops, so you'll have to spend healing speed-ups if you want to win.
Be sure to continuously save your healing speed-ups for the Reservoir Raid event.
Save advanced relocators. Throughout the duration of the Reservoir Raid, you'll likely need to relocate around the map to secure key buildings and attack the other alliance.
While you are given charged advanced relocators that refresh with a cooldown in the event, you can use advanced relocators from your inventory when you run out of your charged relocators.
Try to save a few advanced relocators so your movement isn't limited by the relocator cooldown.
Medium term.
Register the right players. In the days leading up to the Reservoir Raid, R4S and R5 can register up to 30 players and 10 reservists for the event. This should be done strategically. Not only do you want your strongest players registered, you also want to ensure they are active during the event. There is no benefit to registering a powerful player who is unable to be online during.
Given the global reach of the game, the Reservoir raid could take place when some of your alliance is sleeping. So for each of the 30 players and 10 reservists you register, you'll want to confirm.
Dividing to teams. You'll want to ensure that all participants are adequately divided into smaller strike teams with their own objectives. Participants should also know exactly what their objectives are before the raid begins. When the event starts, you don't want players relocating around the map and attacking buildings randomly. This wastes both time and relocators. Rather, you want to different strike teams go for different objectives right at the start with changes to strategy as the raid progresses.
Short term.
Recall your troops. You will only be able to enter the Reservoir raid if all your troops are in your settlement. Additionally, you can't have any wounded troops in your hospital. Troops injured in the Reservoir raid event will instantly be healed when the event concludes, but any troops that are wounded prior to the event will prevent you from joining the event.
Ensure you have no troops gathering resources, wounded in the hospital, or attacking infected or other settlements. This will ensure you don't miss the start of the Reservoir raid by waiting for your
Different buildings become available to occupy at different times during the 1-hour event. For example, when the event first starts, only the water treatment centers and water processing plants can be attacked. You'll want your alliance to target those first.
12 minutes later with 45 minutes remaining. Phase 2 starts where the main central reservoir and supporting munitions factory and div compound buildings become open for occupation.
In the third phase of the Reservoir raid, approximately 9 minutes later with 36 minutes remaining in the raid, water tanks spawn around the map. Water can be gathered from these tanks to add to your overall score. Keep an eye out for these water tanks as they appear randomly throughout the map and could be easy targets for you, especially if your main march is tied up with occupying a building. Additional water tanks will appear with 16 minutes left in the event.
Tip 3: Play as a team.
This goes without saying, but not any single player can win a Reservoir raid on their own for their alliance. Every single player helps to contribute to the raid as part of the team. Important to the success of the team is ensuring everyone on the team knows how they can best contribute to the success of the alliance, and act accordingly throughout the raid. There are 3 buckets that alliance's players should be grouped into for the Reservoir raid.
Rally leaders. These are your top 4-6 players in the raid. The rally leaders have the best heroes, stats, and oftentimes battle power. You always want these players to be starting the rallies against the buildings so their stats apply to entire rally. The rally leaders should use their best heroes to attack and defend buildings, and should always be on war talents.
Hunters. These are the next tier of players in your raid. These players are strong but are not on the same level as your rally leaders. Support. The majority of players in the raid are considered support. They help by filling rallies, reinforcing buildings, and gathering from water tanks. Support players can relocate around the map as needed, but to be safe from settlement attacks, they should stay in the safe zone and send troops to the play area while using march speedups.
Hunters should relocate around the map and focus on attacking opposing player settlements to send their troops to the hospital and prevent them from helping to occupy buildings. Hunters are especially effective when attacking unwitting players busy with rallying buildings or sending marches out.
If you like what you see, don't forget to like and click the bell to notify the next video. The One Alliance has a small advantage in winning the fight. The best alliance won.
Finally, it's what I wanna see. Stars igniting just for me. Wouldn't be here without a dream. You and I were all that I need. Sticks and stones collide.
Victory Alliance 1 Server 763. Congratulations!